I'm soaring, friends. I am Vitaly Portnikov. Poland is being examined before the legislation allows Ukraine to sell Russian drones and missiles across the windy expanse of Ukraine, without the consent of the NATO command. The Polish Ministry of Defense has ordered such treason from the rabble. However, when the drone attacks on the territory of Poland come, the priscor, which is important for Poland and for Ukraine, will spill over. Poland has little legislated Russian missiles and drones in the windy expanse of Ukraine. Without coordination from the Pivnichno-Natic Union is practical to the fierce 2020 another. However, Poland has a snake for seeing off, yaks for coordinating Polish from NATO. And with such a rank about the national legislation of Poland, literally the day before Russia's attack on Ukraine, a paragraph appeared. In fact, he and the activities of the dropped forces of Ukraine. Politicians from the Law and Justice Party, having sat down to a serious reaction to Moscow's aggressive ideas and to the fact that with the receipt of the United States of Ukraine NATO, they will quickly overwhelm Poland at times over the windy expanse, and the territory will not be loaded from the side of Moscow. However, the TPR, standing obvious, still at the approach, do not hurry with any serious decisions, and tied up and on windy objects of the Russian Federation on the Tilka, at the windy just Ukraine, at the windy just Poland Romania, they get discouraged. The ideas can theoretically produce before the conflict from the Russian Federation. And such a rank creates a paradoxical situation. Russian drones and missiles can be dropped to the windy expanse of Poland from the windy just of Ukraine. And Poland is not like any real ones on the legislator of Rivne for sending off preventive crocs for imperious on windy. And from the TPR, the situation can change, I would say, to normal. The statements of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, about the fact that European Ukraine has Russian missiles, drones in the power of the wind. Another truth about the Ukrainian windy, Donald Trump did not say anything, and did not say that the United States would be happy to help its European allies. Russian windy objects. It is obvious that the presence of a split unmanned zone over the Zahid regions of Ukraine and the Shidny and Voivodeship of Poland provides an effective and logical response to the delayed attack of Russian drones on Polish territory. I'm in Europe for the situation. Denmark has been in a hurry for a couple of days to launch a reference hybrid attack on guided drones. And Moscow is richly behind the cover of the windy expanse of tribute in European Ukraine. The uprising, the drone attack on Denmark, I made before the closure of the force and at the airfield in Ukraine. I was just tied up with military facilities. And Ukraine's engagement with Denmark in our confrontation with Russian aggression is so good led. So the attack of Russian weight-loss drones on the territory of Poland can be repeated, absolutely not turned off yet. It may not be intelligence, but a reference guide and attack drone. Naive, so that the counselor is still not scouting drones, they are sent to the territory of arming for Russia and Ukraine. And on my sum, it is still skin Ukraine NATO arming for Russia, just with a tourtel. They are being massaged by the fact that there may be a strike by combat drones. And the reaction against the windy system in the skin of a specific European Ukraine to the spilling of an unmanned aerial vehicle over those objects that Moscow has put on the list for recently, and the Russian Federation could surrender, is fantastic. However, the fact that drones can be claimed not by Tilka from the Ukrainian windy expanse, but launched from the territory of the most European Ukraine. Yaxia surrenders with tribute. And the Ukrainian apparatus has a web. I have made up to Night Poshko, Russian airfields and combat pilots, and became with idle know-how, Yakim, PPR on European territory. Can also give Russian special services. So for the European Ukrainians, 4 military facilities, for NATO, with a skin day, with a skin month, and with a skin fate of Russian-Ukrainian guilt, we, of course, end with the Kremlin, no one is greedy. And with such a rank of European Ukraine, they are ready to the point that Russia's hybrid guilt and Russia's hybrid guilt are against NATO members, against neighboring Ukraine. The power of Ukraine is actively helping Ukraine to resist Russian aggression. And in those situations, I will decide the honor of the United NATO Command and the beating of the Pivnichno-Atlantic Alliance, directly for the Russian Federation. They are already standing up for a threat to the national interests of Ukraine. The Yaks can be attacked by Russian drones, and even missiles. So the decision of the legislators to sell a Russian drone and a Russian missile to the territory of Poland is a logical solution in such situations. Well, I'm still in Kiev and in Warsaw, in Dast again, and without it being seized by NATO. It will cut out, at least mechanically, the torture of just a sawn-off, just a windy defense over the entry of Ukraine. The exodus of Poland for Baal, and for Poland itself, and for those regions in Ukraine, the sawn-off system. Well, Kiev has a windy defense in the central and southern regions of the country, attacked by brutal and Russian aggressors. Dyakuyu. Finish on the topic of the channel, subscribe to it, and social on the Patreon channel. It helps to develop these resources. The sponsorship function itself.